If you claim to be about that street life, whether you fake or real, you cannot snitch. It's not an option. Oh, snap. Let me turn this off. I'm talking about people that's like, when it comes to Tekashi 6ix9ine, and y'all be like, well, they did him wrong. They did him wrong. They disrespected him. They just, they was stealing his money and his girl, and man, he just never had respect. No, man, the street ain't no respect in the streets. It's Cutthroat Island. It's the streets. Every man for himself in this land, we be gunning, even when you in a gang. You don't snitch. That's not an option. Even if you a fake thug, you can't resort to the snitch because you prescribe to the street lifestyle. And that's rule number one. That's rule number one. Above all else, ain't no excuses. I don't care if they did. Tekashi 6ix9ine, he looks easy to disrespect. Of course they disrespected this dude. How can you not? He looks harder to respect than to disrespect. You know, it's some people that's hard to respect. Like you see them coming down the street, the way they talk, the way they move, their whole vibe, you be like, yo, I'm really struggling to respect you. Like I'm trying to find traits about you to respect. Like I gotta look for the respect. Some people, when they walk in the room, it's respect. Y'all be like, oh man, I respect this person. They came in with the energy. But some people, you gotta be like, oh, I don't want to be this judgmental. Like, what? Let me look at you real. What can I possibly respect about you as an individual? It's just, I mean, you put good gas in the car. I can respect that. Like you got to really like dig around and find something to respect. And Tekashi is one of those people. I just got to really struggle to find something I respect about this guy, man. Like I saw him giving money to like people in need. That's respectable, but I don't feel like it's genuine. I don't feel like it's genuine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Give money to those people with the cameras off. Behind closed doors. I respect that. Like if you giving money with the cameras on, yeah, it's a nice gesture, but what you really doing it for? Like what's the real on that? You know what I mean? Got my co-host in the building, Water. You want to talk about respect? Respect Water. Water needs the utmost respect. Water commands respect. Now, this particular Water don't really command respect because it's 7-Eleven. But it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. It was desperate measures. The 7-Eleven was close to the studio. And you gotta caress it, you gotta hold it like it's a newborn out here. You gotta hold the water and hold the caress. Caress. You know what I'm saying? We gotta treat water like we treat babies, man. You gotta handle them with care. You know what I mean? We need this. We need this. We need this. Everybody should be like, yo, water, you gotta change. Imagine living life for 2 weeks with no water. 2 weeks with no water. How you think life gonna be for you?
You're gonna die. I think
Death.
Yeah. How long can you go without water? Like 3 days?
I feel like it's like you might be able to squeeze out 5, maybe, on the extreme end.
Man, your lips gonna be
Lips gonna be chapped. You're gonna be funky. You're gonna be functified. You're gonna be out of here, man. That's why we need to hold our water bottles like babies, man. We need to be out here like this. Hey, rocking it. Rock that water. Rock that water, man. Don't just drink it and call it a day. You got to come in like, oh, be careful. Yeah, you can hold her. You can hold her. Yeah. Yeah. And then people are, oh, man, you just get this gallon? Oh. You got a gallon, huh? You gonna drink this gallon? We got to treat water with care, man. It's everything, man. It's more vital than the babies. Babies are cute and all, but are they vital? Is that baby as vital as this? I don't know. I don't know, man. We got to, you know, we got to handle that water with care, man. All right, to the people watching on Instagram, if you want to see the rest of this, join my Patreon. Get the link. We in here live. But if not, we're out of here. Sorry. Boom. There that is. But yeah, man, we in here. Drink more water, y'all. Drink more water. Make it a regular routine. Make it a regular part of your life. I want you to feel weird if you haven't had a good dose of water on a day-to-day, man. And water is not paying me to say any of this. It's all from the heart. It's all from the soul. You feel me? You feel me? All right, y'all. We back. Verbal cardio. Let's tap in to what my patron saints are talking about. Let me see what y'all want me to talk about real quick. Where my post at? Hold on a second, man. Let me find. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, let's see. Let's see here. We got my producer extraordinaire. She got to work today, so she will be away, but she might tap in periodically here and there. Okay, so Christina Gordon asks, do you have any thoughts on the possible overturning of Roe versus Wade? I think it's trash and kind of scary. Unwanted pregnancies, women with health dangers, men who don't want to be daddies. I think it will be a very bad decision if it becomes officially nationwide. I know older women, Marines, that self-aborted back in the 60s and 70s because they would have been put out of the Marine Corps if they hadn't done so. So I think, with the Roe versus Wade, so I would assume that they're making abortions illegal then?
Yeah, they're overturning the Supreme Court ruling that happened a while ago. Basically would essentially ban it.
So they're banning abortions.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not with it. I'm not with it at all, man. I mean, no. This is absolutely, I'm not with it at all. Not feeling it. I'm not supporting it. Women have every right to do what they want. I mean, and I just don't like how, as a man, I just don't like how we get off scotch-free. We reckless with the nut bust. We are reckless with the nut bust. And then everything else is laid at the feet of the woman. That's unfair. I mean, it's part of what nature is, but it's unfair. It's like, we can bust off, intentionally bust it off inside. We know how babies are created. You got to be careful, man. If you really ain't about that kid life, you gotta wear 2 rubbers, first of all, because rubbers do snap. And sometimes they bust off, and then I've been there. I've been in situations where the condom broke, and then I was like, ooh. And then we got to go to plan B. But I just don't like, but we took the responsibility to get the plan B. Like, I've been in situations where I remember I was with a girl I was dating. The condom broke. I didn't know it. All inside. And then it was like, you realize it in the moment. And I'm just like, we got to go get the plan B. And I paid for the plan B. You gotta take the steps, man. Gotta take this. And that's not even mentioning the women that have been sexually assaulted or lied to, or even like, some people be shady with them condoms. They be back there taking them off while you switching positions. And then you get, and now, you know what I mean? It's like, so I don't like this at all. I'm not with it. And for me, like, I got a vasectomy. So, I'm really about that life. And, I'm no stranger to being involved in abortions. Like, I'm very open about, my experiences sexually. And it's just like, when I lost my virginity, that resulted in an abortion. I could have been played. I could have gotten played, though. But, this is my first time. I busted off. I was a 2-pump chump. Didn't last long at all. Out of here. Then it was like, yo, I'm pregnant. Shot the club up. I shot the club up. She was like, I'm pregnant, and so I put in on the abortion. And that was my debut in the sexual streets. That was my debut. I was a 2-pump chump. It resulted in that. And I was just like, damn. That was my debut, man. That's not how you want to kick it off. It could have been worse. I could have caught something that I could never get rid of, but, that was my debut. And then, I was involved again with another one because my long-term, girlfriend at the time, we just weren't ready. And it was just like, So I'm involved in that life, So I could never look down on, people that have gotten abortions, and a lot of women have gotten abortions. They don't need to tell you all their business like that, but it's a lot of women out here, whether they admit it or not, have gotten abortions. So, I just don't like how everything falls at the feet of women when it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. And, men have to be held accountable for shooting the club up. You got to be held accountable for the You can't just be out here with the reckless and then we laying on the women to just take the heat. They taking the heat at the abortion clinic. They taking the heat from the judgment. They taking the heat from the family. Now they taking the heat from the Supreme Court. They always taking the heat, and the men are standing there scot-free. And I just don't think that's right. As a man, I don't think that's fair. And then everybody's looking down on women like, did the woman bust off in herself? Absolutely not. She wasn't just sitting there like, there's no asexual reproduction going on here. So I'm not with it. I ain't feeling it. Another question. Oh, she said it's really for Sabrina, but Catherine West. Shout out to Catherine West. And that first question was from Christina Gordon. Shout out to my patron saints. This question is really for Sabrina, but I'm curious about your answer too. During the East Coast West Coast beef between Biggie and Pac, did you listen to Pac? Did you pick sides? I saw a YouTuber who said he was born in '86 and until recently he hadn't listened to his music. First of all, I think '86. But if you were born in '86, I think you should have been listening to some Pac. Because that means in '96 when he died, you were 10. As a kid, you should have been exposed to some good Pac by the people around you, the family, whatever. But, not everybody listens to hip hop. Not everybody, is playing that type of music around the kids. So I get it. Reggie Kinlaw just called me a West Coast hip hop hater. First of all, Sabrina, are you in here to even answer that question? Because Sabrina definitely leans east. Big time. Sabrina leans east for sure. She likes Kendrick and TDE, but I don't really see her, West Coasting it up outside of Kendrick in that camp, and like, I don't know. I'm gonna just throw that out there. And Struggle Beard Bakery is in the chat right now. I hate you, bro. So Reggie saw my list. So let me answer the question from my perspective. I think as hip hop fans, I think we all have our bias as to what region we lean towards in hip hop. I think we all got a sonic bias on which particular sound we lean towards in hip hop, right? Whether you want to admit it or not, if we look at your favorites, there might be a pattern there. Amir, would you say you lean to a particular region?
The South got something to say.
The South. He's leaning Southern, right? I lean East. Like I grew up, I'm 44. So I grew up, as hip hop was just in its infancy. And then, growing up, hip hop just leaned east naturally because that's where it started, right? So most of the stuff we were hearing and exposed to was East Coast. It was from New York. It was from the East. And so that was the foundation. And so I'm growing up, I'm watching Breaking, I'm watching Beat Street, and I'm listening to early hip hop, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, LL Cool J. I'm just seeing all of this just come out of the East. Audio 2 and, Rob Bass, and heavy East, right? So I'm growing up in that. And so, Chicago, we really didn't have a voice at that time, on the hip hop tip. I can't even say I lean Midwest because Midwest had already come out with its sound when I was already kind of established in what sound I was leaning towards. So, by the time Tongue Twister and Common and by the time those cats hit the scene, I was already bathed in East Coast hip hop by that time, right? So when the West Coast starts popping, Ice-T and NWA is kicking the doors down. It's like, oh shit, oh, and then from the South, you got the Ghetto Boys, so it was just like, damn, okay. But I was already established in that East coming up, so everything was compared to the East for me. And so as I get older, I'm still leaning, even when the West was dominating, I was still leaning East. And I was just like, nah, I like these type of beats better. I like this type of flow, this type of sound, this type of look. So I was leaning East. And so by the time Biggie and Pac start their feud, and mind you, let's not forget, I don't care what y'all talking about because everybody wants to claim Tupac. Tupac is from New York. He is from New York. He raised in New York, moved to Baltimore. Then he started musically in the Bay Area, right? So the West wants to claim him big time. But if you listen to Tupacalypse Now, if you listen to Strictly for My Niggas, regionally, Tupac, his beats, his production, the way he rapped, leaned east. I don't care what y'all saying.
It's just that he made his way to the West, and that's how he was able to.
Because he went west. He got with Digital Underground, so he was rocking with that crew, and so Digital Underground, they're from the Bay Area. But if you listen to the production, the way it sounded, the way he rapped, you listen to the songs he was doing, it didn't sound West Coast. It didn't sound like what E40 and them were doing. Well, nobody sounds like E40. But it didn't sound like Too Short or E40. It didn't sound like, NWA. It didn't sound like these LA cats, Richie Rich and stuff like that. So it sounded like it was more in the vein of Public Enemy or stuff like that. When Ice Cube went when he went off on his own, his production was East Coast sounding. He went with the Bomb Squad. So it had that, even though he was from out West, it had that East Coast sound. And so everybody like, yo, man, Tupac is West. The only reason you super claim Tupac is West because he made it so because All Eyes on Me was like, yo, I'm throwing up the W. I'm out West. I got shot in New York. I'm pissed off. I'm riding with them. This is what it is. We gonna West it up. We gonna give my sound more of a West Coast feeling because I'm with Death Row Records. I got Daz on the production. So now we coming in super West Coast. But if you listen to Me Against the World, it's not the same sound. It's not like, oh, this dude is mad West Coast right here. No. See, y'all forget, I've seen Tupac from beginning to end. A lot of y'all coming in late talking about who Tupac was and, what the sound was. I was there on the front lines watching the whole evolution of Tupac. So when you say, Tupac is West Coast, is he? Is he though? So, and for me, my favorite Tupac's album of all time is Me Against the World. So, so when he had the beef with Biggie, the question is, did I choose sides in the East Coast, West Coast beef? I did. I chose sides. I was in high school, so, we impressionable, and I chose sides. I was just like, man, because it was like you had to choose. It was like, hey, man, who you rocking with? It was like you had to pick a side. It was like, pick a side. Macaroni and cheese, greens, mashed potatoes, pick a side. And I was just like, damn, man, why are we doing it? Because I like, regardless of what certain people think about me when it comes to Pac, I am a Tupac fan. I rock with Pac. Me Against the World is a classic album to me. I really like Pac. I like Pac just as an entity. I thought he was a phenomenal actor, and I think he is a top tier MC. So Many Tears by Tupac is one of my favorite songs of all time. But I picked a side, and I went with Biggie. Man. I picked a side. I went East Coast. Man. Because that's it was an easy pick for me. Man. Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers is one of the best songs I've ever heard. Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Redman, Nas. It was too much firepower on the East Coast for me to be like, I'm picking West. No. I was East McGee, man. The sun rises in the East. I was East Coast McGee. I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna front. When I had to choose a side, I was like, East Coast. That was more in my wheelhouse. That was more, boot camp click. It was just like I was feeling the East more, a lot more. And so I was just like, yeah, East Coast. And then, when it came to Biggie and Pac, I was like, yo, man, that Biggie Ready to Die album, lyrically, you can't put too many albums above Ready to Die. From a lyrical standpoint, Ready to Die is one of the most impressive hip-hop albums ever created. From a lyrical standpoint. Like if you just look at the mechanics of lyricism, right? Now, mind you, the only thing Biggie was missing or hadn't had the opportunity to show us yet was his raps on social commentary. Like how he felt about society at large, racism, poverty. We never got a chance to experience Biggie in that realm. All of Biggie's stuff was primarily storytelling, drug rap, flashy, materialism, and violence. We never got into the commentary side of Biggie, the social side of Biggie, which we got in spades with Tupac. Like Tupac was always talking about, society at large, which is why, Tupac was dope. But from just from a lyrical ability standpoint, if you look at Ready to Die and what Biggie was doing lyrically in that album, he was hitting us with so many different facets of his lyrical ability that it was crazy. It was like, yo, he's telling crazy stories on this album. He's being multiple characters within the story on this album. He's rapping aggressive. He's rapping smooth. He's rapping with humorous bars. He's painting pictures. He's giving visuals. He's like, yo, he's giving us aspirations on like dreams and like, wanting to be somebody bigger than you are with Juicy and stuff like that. It's like, man, you know what I'm saying? I want to do that too. I want a Super Nintendo and a Sega Genesis too, He's doing so many different things at a top tier level in that album. It's just like, yo, man, lyrically, this album is crazy. From a lyrical standpoint, it was just like, yo, this album came out of nowhere. Nobody saw it coming. And it was just like, yo, Biggie is one of the best dudes to ever, grab a mic and start putting words together. From a lyrical performance, it was just like, and I always say this about Biggie. I always say this about Biggie. He does everything well lyrically, whatever the genre is. Now, mind you, the only thing we didn't see was the commentary part. But if he was gonna be smooth, you believed it. If he was gonna be talking drug rap, you believed it. If he was gonna be mad aggressive, talking about he eat MCs for breakfast, you believed it. If he was gonna be mad funny, it was funny. If he was gonna be multiple characters within the track, you was like, yo, this is a different character. He did all this on a high level. So, I chose Biggie. I went East. And, that's just what I lean towards. And I feel like, honestly, everybody has their bias. It's you got some people that are well-rounded as far as like which region they lean towards when it comes to hip-hop. Because now I feel like the regions are starting to blend together and, the sounds are starting to merge. Now it's getting harder to decipher who's from where. You know what I mean? You got some cats from the East sounding like they from the South, and like you don't know where anybody is from, but that sound is like it's Southern in its origin. But back then, I feel like the regions were more defined. Like that Midwest sound, it sounded Twister and Do or Die and Crucial Conflict and Bone Thugs and Harmony. They sounded different than what was going on in the East and the West and the South. But I feel like we all lean in a certain direction. Amir said the South. I'm gonna go East. People in my Chatsworth, which region are y'all leaning towards? I want to know. I got to know. Which region do y'all lean towards when it comes to rap? So we got Tony says East, Tamara says East, Nakia says East, West Coast because I'm from there, Midwest, South, Dirty South, South, East, 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 the Southeast, West, South, East. And the caveat is, whatever region you pick, are you from that region? Like Amir's from the South.
Yeah. Well, technically, yes, Virginia is the South. Virginia and Atlanta definitely the South. But people like to be like, Virginia's not the South.
Virginia's
the South.
Yeah, for sure.
I grew up East heavy though. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Definitely, influenced by Southern sounds. But I'm born in the '90s, so growing up, my parents were listening to a lot of Jay-Z. Growing up. My dad was a big fan of Wu-Tang, Nas, Erykah Badu, Justin Timberlake. Anything Pharrell, Timberland, because Virginia.
Right.
So the Clips, all of that going on. Who we got? D'Angelo. Kanye West was a big influence on when he came up. Before he started rapping, Kanye, when he's making beats, I was studying his stuff as a kid. So I had a lot of, East Coast stuff. And even though Kanye was from Chicago, his production style was definitely East sound.
It sounded East.
Yeah.
With heavy
Blueprint,
soul samples. Yeah.
Blueprint and all of that. So I was East heavy before I moved, right before I moved to Atlanta. That's when I think we had Lil Jon and all them come out, and the crunk era started progressing more.
Yeah.
Even though that was a Memphis sound, Atlanta, Lil Jon took it and made it what it was.
Right.
So I got into that, and I was like, I like this stuff, and that's when all that stuff started popping up. So we got Lil Scrappy, and we got the Young Bloods and all that stuff like that, and then T.I., and then Jeezy, and then Ludacris, and I was like, the South. I like these guys. So I was like, I like what they got going on, so I gravitated to that because they were a little more experimental in their music. And then, of course, Lil Wayne. So Hot Boys and all that stuff was one of the biggest influences in my life, period.
Right, the
Even
Hot
to
Boys.
this day, Hot Boys is just...
So
I watched
Manny
that
Fresh,
video.
was he doing the bulk of the production? Manny Fresh?
If not all of it.
Yeah.
Manny Fresh, I listen to his music even today, be like, I don't even know how he even did this stuff, because considering, like, since I know the musical aspect of, like, the creation and technicalities and stuff, like, how did you do this in the 90s with what you had? Because I've touched that gear, I've used that stuff.
Yeah.
He was on another level for sure, and I feel like he deserves his respect. But Hot Boys for sure had a big influence on me, my young impressionable mind at 5, 6, 7 years old. Like, I want to be like them. I'm wearing bandanas. I'm doing all of that stuff. Like,
you was 5, 6 when the Hot Boys came out?
man, Hot Boys originally were the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 95.
God damn.
So I'm listening to all of that stuff. Like, when they coming out, the Cash Money records taking over. Like, I was 4 and 5 years old.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be like, I was listening to that stuff. I was like, that's what I wanted to be like before my parents put Bow Wow on me. But, and then and then Bow Wow came out. I was like, I want to be like Bow Wow.
Yeah.
But Hot Boys for sure, man. That was a... So the South definitely always like pulled into it.
Yeah.
Even though I grew up listening to a lot of East stuff. When I moved to Atlanta, I was like, okay, I see what y'all got going on. I really couldn't understand when people be like, man, Gucci Man hard, like Gucci Man. This 2006. Gucci Man. It's like, man, Gucci Man. I was like, I'm not feeling Gucci Man yet.
Yeah.
But now I get it. I was like, nah, man, Jay-Z. Then it was like, nah, Gucci Man. And I was like, how y'all comparing them?
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, I get it. You have to be in a certain area to understand why people look at it. Because that argument, even today, to most people, be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But then you got to go and you listen to it, be like, oh, okay, I get it.
You got to be in the area.
It's different.
And you know what? For me, like, I moved to New Mexico, right? And the black folks in New Mexico was rocking West Coast stuff heavy. They definitely leaned West and Southern in New Mexico. So when I'm coming in with Wu-Tang and Redman and Nas, they just like, man, look out, man. We listening to South Central Cartel, Brother Lynch Hung. We listening to this type of stuff. So when No Limit came out, they were listening to that, and I was just like, the South for me, the prime South for me was Outkast. And like when Outkast hit the scene, I was just like, it's some of the best shit I've ever heard. And so, outside of the Dungeon Family and like Scarface, I wasn't rocking the South too heavy outside of those cats. Like, the No Limit, although even though I respected, Master P and what he was able to do, and like, his run was crazy, I wasn't really rocking with No Limit sonically like that. And I was just like, occasionally, like, I liked the occasional banger from them, like, of course, Make 'Em Say like Mystical had some joints, and like, but ultimately, like, I wasn't a fan of Beats by the Pound production. And, they was handling the bulk of it, and I just felt like, and I really felt like they were just making too many beats too soon. I really feel like they weren't sitting in the sound. They were just like cranking it out too fast.
No Limit was putting out music every week.
It was on a weekly basis. Full big albums. They wasn't doing those short 10-track albums.
Nah.
They were doing long play.
They were doing deluxes back then.
They were just doing, and I was just like, well, goddamn, man. And I just couldn't, I couldn't really get into it. Like, but I respected it though. I was like, man, Master P did something crazy. I just wish I liked him more. And, that's just my truth on that. But I've always respected the No Limit hustle, but I was always, Wu-Tang, the Fugees, that was just my flavor. And it was like, you always come into your own. After you're raised around certain music and, your parents played this, your older siblings played this and that, and you liked it. But then you come into your own space where you gravitate towards what you gravitate towards. And for me going east, even though I'm from the Midwest, and even when you look at like Common Sense is from Chicago, but if you look at his production choices, who he worked with, even though No ID is also from Chicago, the sound leaned east. And then, when Common started working with Questlove and Jay Dilla, and like even Jay Dilla's production, it was like it could lean east, even though it's his own. Jay Dilla has his own sound, like that's Dilla, and Jay Dilla's sound honestly could go either way. Like when he did stuff for the Far Side, he was like, oh, this sounded real West right here, and so that's why many regard Jay Dilla as like one of the best to ever do it. But that's how I was coming up sonically. I was just like, and when I made my top 25 list, a lot of people was in their feelings about it, but he was like, man, you biased. Everybody's biased.
Yep. Your
list is gonna be sonically biased, and you're only hurt because my bias doesn't align with yours. So there's that. Sorry that question was so long-winded, but I could talk music for a long time. Let me go to the verbal cardio topics. So James Corden, he hosts the Late Late Show. And, he's approaching like his final season. I think his final season closes out in 2023. So next year, he's done. And I've read reports somewhere that he turned down $50 million. They want him to continue with the Late Late Show, but he's turning down, I believe, $50 million. I'm not sure how true this is, but this is what I've read. He's walking away from $50 million. And I'm just like, that's a lot of money to walk away from. We know Dave Chappelle famously, infamously, whatever you want to call it, walked away from $50 million. Now, in hindsight, we know that, he was able to weather the storm, stand on his own, and then come back even more successful than what he walked away from on his own terms. But that hindsight is 2020. Like, when Dave Chappelle first walked away from that $50 million, we looked at him like he was crazy. We looked at him like he lost his goddamn mind. We was just like, how are you walking away from $50 million from your own show? Like, people couldn't wrap their head around that. And, Dave Chappelle was telling us his explanations on why and stuff like that. And people were still just like, nah, man, you bugging. You bugging. Just take the check. A lot of people will just take the check. But money ain't everything, y'all. I know that's hard to believe. I know it's hard to believe, and I know it's hard to fathom, and I know it's hard to grasp. But money truly ain't everything. When Seinfeld walked away, they wanted Seinfeld to do one more season of Seinfeld. They were going to offer him $5 million per episode for another season of Seinfeld. That would have been a 24-episode season. Let's say 24 episodes times $5 million. He walked away from a $120 million season. He was like, no, I'd rather just end it here, go out on a high note. He walked away from a $120 million season. And a lot of people just like, yo, how? You know how much money Seinfeld is worth today? $950 million. So he turned out all right. Money is important. Money is important. You can't just be out here completely disrespecting money, because money is very important. Like, if you don't think money is important, find yourself in a medical jam and you out here and you need that medical money. Find yourself in a situation where the worst has happened and you need somebody to repair your car. Find yourself in a situation where you're evicted. Find yourself in a situation where you need the money tonight. And then you be like, well, goddamn, money is kind of important. It's not everything, but it's important. So when you get in a situation where you're doing all right, you're making a pretty decent living, you're doing all right, that's when you start to realize that money really ain't everything. I can walk away from this. So James Corden, even though we're looking at it like, yo, you walking away from $50 million? He's already a millionaire. What's another 50 to a millionaire? He's already a multimillionaire. So to him, it's just like, it's not worth the hassle. Because whatever reason he has for walking away from the show, it's obviously not as important as the walk away. The walk away is the more important. I'd rather walk away. Like he was saying, I was reading somewhere that he really missed his family. He really missed the UK. He wants his kids to, be with their grandparents more often. So he's looking at it like this, I'm going for peace of mind. I'm going for family. I'm going for what I'm used to. I'm going for the happiness. And if you're already worth millions of dollars, all right, so what? I'm walking away from $50 million. It's not the end of the world. I'll be all right in the long run. Now, mind you, we're thinking James Corden is going to be all right in the long run, which he can be, which he can come back and do other shows or other movies or whatever. He has the options. So he might be thinking, I'm not really tripping. So I really feel like you really understand that money isn't everything, especially when you get to a place where you're financially more comfortable to really say that. There's certain people in situations where, I'm saying, shit, I need every dollar. I need that $10, man. You'll do whatever you can do to get it. But then when you get in a situation where it's just you can walk away from some good money, it's just like, man, you walked away from that? And so I think James Corden is in that situation where it's just like, to us, it might look crazy, but to him, it's just like, no, I don't really feel like doing another contract. Because if he comes back to the show, he's going to have to do another contract. And he might not want that. And I respect it. Someone asks, do I feel famous? Like me personally, do I feel famous as an individual, as a person? No, I do not. I don't feel famous. I feel recognized, and but I don't feel famous. You know what I mean? Like I feel like people are aware of me now, but I don't feel like a famous person. Like, cause I really just navigate through the streets on a day to day, and I go in grocery stores, I go to post office, I run errands, and I feel unrecognized, and so I don't feel famous, and it's a good place to be in, honestly. You feel famous because I got your shirt on? To me, I do not feel famous. I definitely feel like just Tony Baker. I'm just a guy working on his craft. That's what I feel like. I'm trying to get the awareness out there, and I still feel like I can move. I can go to a 7-Eleven. I can go in a store and not be recognized. Or, sometimes I'll get recognized here and there, It definitely happens. Like, yo, Tony Baker, But yes, people recognize me. But I feel like I can still go into any spot and not have people approach me. Now, if I get to a place where I can't go anywhere without somebody saying something or knowing who I am, then I'll be like, all right, I'm famous. But I go to too many places where people don't know me, and I still feel regular. Like, I'm out here. So no, I don't feel famous. I don't feel famous. So there's that. If The Rock knows you, you are famous. I mean, but The Rock knows people that aren't famous. The Rock knows people that aren't famous. And so I just feel like, I feel regular. So that's the answer to that question. Here's a good topic that I want to touch on before we get out of here. This is a great topic because a lot of people, it's on a lot of people's minds. I'm famous to you, Miranda. Appreciate that, man. And mind you, I'm not disrespecting or belittling anything. The people that truly rock with me, the fans, all that. I'm not trying to write anybody off. I'm just saying how I feel from my perspective. Finding purpose in your 30s and success in your 40s. So a lot of people feel pressured by time and age. Like people feel pressured to have a certain life or a certain lifestyle or a certain, career or a certain mindset or a certain trajectory by a certain age. Like you feel like you got to be killing it and you got to be, having everything in order in your late 20s or even in your 20s. By the 30s, you got to have everything figured out. You got to be on the ball. You got to know where you're going. You got to know where you're at. And you got to be solidified in your 30s. You got to have a kid by this age. You got to do this by this age. If you're doing this, you're too old. You done missed your time. You done missed your prime. And a lot of people are intimidated by getting older. A lot of people feel like they're failures because they're at a certain age and they don't have this or that. And it's just not the case, y'all. It's really not the case. It's all in your mind, and the pressure is brought on by, society and how other people just gauge everything. I turned 45 this month. This month I'll be 45. Snugglebeard Bakery is 45 tomorrow. Shout out to Snugglebeard. Happy early birthday, Taurus Gang. We out here. Taurus Gang or don't bang. And your cookies are phenomenal, man. I'm not sure when you started making cookies with Strugglebeard Bakery. God damn your cookies, man. Those some good ass cookies, man. And I want some of your chocolate chip cookies boneless. I want some of your chocolate chip cookies without the chips. And I don't know why I keep fumbling, Marie, with Strugglebeard Bakery. Strugglebeard Bakery is tearing my ass up. I'm to here. I done called them Snuggle, Strudel. I can't get it together. But anyway, forget all that. Your age, okay? You're looking at people that have attained things at a young age and that you still might be struggling with or you still don't have a grasp on. So what? That's their journey. You don't have to compare other people's journey to your own. There are millionaires that are like 17 years old, 15, 16, 17. So what? So what? They ain't got nothing to do with you. That's got nothing to do with you. That shit ain't normal anyway. Okay? They out here opening boxes on YouTube. They millionaires and they're kids. So what? That doesn't mean you're not killing it in your life. That doesn't mean you should fall off your little trail trying to chase this down. Okay? I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of feeling like, I should have been more solidified in my career and job by the time I was in my late 20s. Let me tell y'all my story. I'm married. I got married at the age of, let's see, how old was I? Let's see. Let me do the math, y'all. 13, 23. So 23. Wait, hold on. Let me do my math. Hold on. So in 97, I'm 20. So 98, 99, 2000, 1, 2, 3. So I got married at age 25, right? I became a father at age 22. I think I was 22 when Serene was born. So I'm an early dad, right? I'm a young dad, 22. How old are you, Amir? You're 27? So by the time I was Amir's age, I was a father of 2, right? So being a father that early comes the pressure of, I need to have my shit together. I got to have my shit together. I got to be doing something. I got to be earning a living. I got to be making money. I got kids to feed. Because the pressure's on. I got a wife. I got kids. I got to have it figured out. And by this time, y'all, I went to college. I changed my major 3 times. I went from psychology. I went to secondary education science. I went to secondary education social studies. I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to get my feet together. I was trying to get my feet together in my 20s, and I couldn't find that thing that I wanted, right? But I'm trying. I'm feeling around, but I'm also goofing off. I'm also making mistakes. I'm also not going to class. I'm failing classes. I'm like, yo, this is too hard. Genetics is too hard. Physics is too hard. Ecology is too hard, man. I got to change my major, man. This is tough. Psychology is boring. This, that, and the third. I'm fumbling. I'm trying to find my way. I'm getting student loan debt. I'm just out here. I'm partying. I'm missing class. You know, but I'm also I'm having kids. I'm exploding. I'm shooting up the club. You know, and not saying that my children are bad decisions, but I wasn't making the best decisions to make sure that my kids will be financially taken care of. You know, mind you, my ex-wife, shout out to Cherie, she had her eye on the ball the whole time. You know what I'm saying? She graduated. She started the nursing program in high school. She was a nursing major in college. So she was like, boom, she was laser focused on being a nurse. She's like, bam, I know what I want to do. I'm going to do this. Bam, laser focused. She was on it. Boom. Me, I'm all over the place in college. I'm like, yo, man, psychology, man, this shit boring, man. Hell no, man. I ain't taking these classes, man. I need something that's going to spark up my interests out here. At the same time, I'm partying. I'm hanging out. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. You know what I mean? And I'm making funny videos on campus. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing Vine videos in 98, 99. I'm doing Vine type videos in 98, 99. I'm just out here. I'm being funny. I'm being talented. But I don't know what to do with the talent at New Mexico State University. I'm like, yo, man, I know I want to be in movies and TV, but I don't know how to be in movies and TV. I'm in New Mexico. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to do these funny videos just on the strength of it. Not even thinking I should have majored in theater. Not even thinking I should have been laser focused on my craft, acting, you know. And so I'm just all over the place. And at the same time, I'm putting that pressure on myself. I'm watching my peers and my colleagues. They're getting the classes done. They're getting A's. They're getting A's and B's, and they're getting their degrees, and they're pushing forward. And I'm struggling. I'm stalling. I'm failing classes. I'm starting from scratch. I'm just like, oh, god damn, man, I'm fumbling the ball. And I'm seeing this, and it gets to your mental. It gets to a point where you're just like, yo, man, I'm screwing up. I feel like I'm not worthy right now. I feel like I'm getting passed up. I'm getting passed over. I feel like everybody else is on the case but me. And I'm just like, oh, god damn, man. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what I love to do. So throughout my whole 20s, I'm going to tell you this. The whole decade of my 20s and in my super early 30s, I was trying to figure it out while battling like, yo, I feel like I don't know what I'm going to do as a lifelong profession. I don't know what I don't know how I'm going to make money and be satisfied making this money. I don't know what's going to bring me joy in life on a occupational level. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how this is going to happen. I have children. I have a wife. I got to support, but I also don't want to die in a job hating going to work every goddamn morning. This was me for the whole decade of my 20s, early 30s. I didn't figure it out. I didn't get laser focused. Even when I came out here to pursue acting, the task of it was so daunting to me that I was still just like, yo, I can't get my feet together. I come out here into a sea of actors and people that want to be in entertainment. And now I'm just like, oh my God, man, it's too many people out here. How can I even stand out, man? They ain't even going to see me. I don't even have an agent. My headshots is trash. I'm in traffic. I'm doing extra work. I ain't never going to get on. I ain't never going to get a role. So I'm dealing with all of this while still trying to raise kids, being in a marriage. I'm just like, yo, man, I feel like I made the wrong decision. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this. I'm floundering for a decade plus, y'all. A decade plus of not being able to figure it out, not being able to get my feet together, as I like to call it. And I feel like an absolute failure because I'm putting the pressure on myself internally. It's not even really coming from family and friends. It's coming from society and the pressure I put on myself. And so I was just like, God damn, man, at this stage though, I'm being a dad though. I'm being a whack husband, but a good dad. I'm being a good ass dad though. I'm getting the boys ready for school. I'm getting them signed up for school. I'm taking them to daycare. I'm getting them signed up for that. I'm doing all of this. I'm on the case. I'm making their lunches. I'm making dinner. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing that. I'm a house husband. I'm cleaning up the house. I'm doing that. I'm doing the best I can. But also at the same time, I wasn't going hard enough. I remember one time Cherie came home and I was playing the video games, and like it was in the daytime. And in that moment, she felt used. She felt like, yo, I'm out here busting my ass and you over here playing video games. And that really, in that moment, I was like, yo, for a second, I was offended and tried to flip the script. Like, yo, I'm out here, I'm doing this, I'm holding the kids down, I'm getting them to school, I'm taking them to this, I'm taking them to that, because the honesty of what Ree said hit me to my core, because she was right. I wasn't using her, but I was not on the ball like I should have been. You know what I'm saying? I was not on the ball like I should have been. I should have been working hard. I should have been on the pavement. While the kids are in school, I should either be looking for agencies, looking for auditions, looking for something, instead of being on the video game broad day. I'm not saying not enjoy the things that bring you happiness, but you got to be working. You got to be working off the clock, because now you hustling. And so when she said that, I initially was like, man, how dare you? You know what I'm saying? I'm holding the boys down. I'm doing this. I'm taking the boys to school, but then I was just like, you know what? She was right. I had to realize that she was right and that I wasn't going hard enough. And I wasn't putting in the work like I should have been doing. She was absolutely right. But in that moment, I was just like, and so that put the foot in my ass. So after that, I got a job quick. Do you hear me? I got a job quick. It was just a job doing inventory. I was counting inventory for this place called, I can't even remember the name of the company. Regis. Regis was the company. And what they do is they do inventory counts. Like, we would go to different shopping areas, different stores, malls, different stores, and we would go in there and we would count the inventory. So I worked for Regis because I was just like, I need a job, I need something. Mind you, I started comedy. I didn't start doing stand-up comedy until 2008, April. That puts me at 31 years of age before I did my first open mic. I was 31. So please, stop putting pressure on your age and your timeline. You could pop and find and get your feet together at any moment. As long as you find it. It doesn't matter the age. Some people find it early, and some people that you think got it all figured out when they're young, they might lose their footing later on in life. Those people that you look up to and be like, man, they got it all. They doing this, they doing that, and the third. They may find themselves in an area where they don't want to be, or they hate the job that you look at as, man, they killing it. They might hate that job. And so for me, it's just like, you have to know yourself and be confident enough within yourself to know that you're on the right path and that you're doing the right things, because everybody's life is truly, I'm telling you, it's truly a fingerprint. I always say fingerprints. Everybody has a different fingerprint. That goes for relationships. That goes for, dreams. That goes for goals, whatever it is. And so, I did stand up at 31. That's when I finally found my laser focus, at 31. Most people would have panicked out by 29. Or they would have felt like they too old, they too this, they too that, or they would have gave up. They give up. I had a family, I had a marriage, so I just gave up on the dream, because you panic because of the timetable. 31 years of age, I discovered stand-up comedy. And that's when my laser focus kicked in. That laser focus that Ree had when she was coming out of high school, I didn't get it until 31. And ever since then, I've been on that path of the laser focus, and everything else has been falling into place. I didn't become financially secure until I was in my 40s. I didn't become financially secure until my 40s, yo. So I'm just saying, like, do not put that pressure on yourself because of your age. You know what I mean? It's going to look different for every single person out here. It's going to look different. it's gonna look different. If you want something in your life that's not textbook, that's outside of the norms, it's gonna look different. If you cool with just getting a job and working your way up to the management and there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's your dream, if that's your goal, it's gonna be easier to identify your trajectory because the blueprint has been the same. But when you step outside of that and you want to do something that's outside the box, or even not even really outside the box, because wanting to act is not outside the box. There are plenty of actors and directors and stuff like that and musicians. And that's not really outside the box. But the chances of it catching fire and really blowing up, that's when it becomes like, but that's where the laser focus comes in. So I just said all that to say, don't down yourself because of your age. Don't get discouraged. Sam Jackson didn't blow up till he was older. Morgan Freeman didn't blow up until he was older. Taraji P. Henson didn't blow up until she was older. Just keep in mind that everybody's timetable is going to look different. But what I will say is that you got to have that work aspect in there early. That's what you can't fake and you can't make excuses for. That's what you can get on. You can get on busting your ass. And that's what I needed. I needed for Cherie to be honest with me in that moment and be like, yo, I feel like you using me right now. And from that, even though it cut me to the core, because it was like, a part of it was like guilt. A part of it was like, it was the truth serum that I needed. But I tell you what, that shit helped me out in spades because I started working harder after that. And so that's one thing, even though you might be uncertain, you gotta do the work wherever you can do the work. And so, if that's getting a job that you can tolerate for a little bit until you get your true feet together, then do that. But so that's my story. So look, I'm just now getting my financial feet together, and I'm 44. So since I've been in my 40s, I'm finally in a place where, I'm not living check to check, and I can turn down some things. And, that came from the decade of laser focused work. Once I stand up at 31, stay focused on stand up. And now at 44, I'm in a place where I can pull a James Corden and be like, nah, I don't have to do that. So, and I'm 44. So it's gonna look different to everybody, man. So I just wanted to say that. And I was married from 2003 to 2012. So yeah, y'all. So there's that. So don't get bogged down by your age and don't be ashamed of it. Just, control what you control what you can control, and, go to work. Don't get discouraged. And stop comparing yourself to others. Like even though I told you, yeah, you can find your spark later in life, even though I kind of told you that, so you can kind of be like, well, Tony, he didn't do it until he was this age. I still don't even want you comparing yourself to me. You know what I mean? But just know that seeing like me and like, people that found the laser focus later in life, that can give you inspiration. Get inspired by people, but don't compare yourself to people. That's what it is. Get that inspiration wherever you need it, and know that you're not too old. You're not too old. Just know that. So I'm gonna end on that, man, because I ain't got nothing to review right now. I'm gonna finish Moon Knight soon, so I'll probably do a recap of that. But yeah, man, I just want y'all to know that don't let your age get you down, man. Your age is a blessing, first of all. You're blessed to still be alive. So don't ever let your age get you down. A lot of people that have died prematurely would love to just, let me get that 25 up off you. Let me get that 38. Let me get that 42. Let me get that 51. You know what I'm saying? I be thinking about my son, Serene. He died at 21. And I'll be like, man, God, he has so many experiences that he could have had after 21. I got so many experiences in my life post 21. I became a dad at 23. I got married at 25. I discovered stand-up at 31. I started doing acting for real like when I was like 26. I did my first play at 26. It's so many like experiences that so many people that have died so young would love to be like that. That age that you feeling sad about. Oh, I'm old. I'm 38. People would kill for that age. People would come out the grave. Let me get that 38 up off you. Since you sad, since you sad that you're getting older, let me get that up off you. Please stop being ashamed of your age. Please embrace it. Every year is a blessing. I love that I'm 44 because I have experienced 44 years of life. And I know firsthand from close proximity that you ain't guaranteed that. You are not guaranteed every birthday you receive. Trust me. Trust me, you are not guaranteed. So don't be sitting here moping because you getting older. That's a blessing, man. You better take that blessing and be like, yes, I'm getting older. Yeah, your knees is going to hurt. Complain about the knees cracking. But the age, though, that's blessing central, man. Trust that. Anyway, I'm getting the hell up out of here. Doing it early. I ain't doing no long-winded verbal cardio this week. But I want y'all to keep that in mind, man. And I believe in y'all, man. Whatever you want to do, man, it ain't too late to do it. There's an old man, he's 101, just got his high school diploma, man. It ain't never too late. He old as hell getting that high school diploma. 101? Let me get that diploma up off you, young man. It's never too late. You're never too old, man. He getting that diploma with pride. He done seen it all at 101, man. Keep that in mind, man. Shut y'all asses up and hush. Getting old is a beautiful thing, man. Anyway, spread the word about verbal cardio, man. Get in on this, man. Spread the word. Tell people about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Get it going out here. I appreciate my patron saints in here, man. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all passionately in the shower. You already know it, man. Shout out to Miranda, Afro, Tanisha, Tony, Autumn, Alice, Miranda, Keisha, was it Kesha, Tony Ann, Hanaj, Jay, Slarita, my usual suspects, Struggle Beard Bakery, man. Happy birthday once again. Styler, AJ, S. Lewis, Crystal Adams, man. I appreciate y'all. Cat James. I'm going to let y'all know when the next movie night is. I'm sorry. It's just been a busy week for me, so I haven't been able to movie night it up. It's been rapid fire. I got to do Keep Your Distance tonight. Make sure you get your tickets for the next Keep Your Distance. And, yeah, man, I appreciate y'all. If you are in Ontario, California, I'll be there all weekend. This weekend, 5 shows at the Ontario Improv. DC is sold out. Raleigh, North Carolina, let's sell that bitch out. So I'll be in North Carolina at the end of the month. And then if you are in LA, I would love it if you came up to Tony Baker and Friends. Got a great lineup. I got Keenan Baker, Keon Poley, DC Irvin, Cornelia Stradwick, Brandon Lewis, and Ruben Paul on that joint. I would love for you to come through. And I'm going to host that thing, so it's going to be a good time. It's at the Avalon Theater in Los Angeles tomorrow, which is actually, if you listen to Verbal Cardio, it's tonight. If you're listening in, if you're not in here on the live. So anyway, love y'all, man. Be good, and we out.